Well, welcome back, everyone. This is day 2 of my Minnesota trip, and we're going for crappies again because the season doesn't start yet for bass and walleye. So, gonna target crappies. Gonna try a different lake today. My lake's kind of got cut in half today just because the wind is kind of crazy today. It's gusting like 25, 30, so had to be selective on which ones I choose. But yeah, yesterday, what a phenomenal day I had sight fishing those crappies under the dock, and today I'm gonna look shallow again. This is a shallower piece of water. And I'm assuming that they're gonna be up in the reeds or close. I guess we'll just have to see when we get out. So hopefully it's a good one, and I'll see you out in the water. Well, first one of the day, and they are here. Had to kind of find out which bay they were in for a little bit, but we got the first one of the day, and it's about probably an 8-incher, not very big, but at least I know they're here now. So I think I'll just go in these weeds and start picking them off and kind of just methodically working these little lily pads. See if we can develop a pattern. It's a little dirtier than I was expecting to. I've been here before and it was crystal clear, and for some reason it's really dirty, so you can't really sight fish them. So I'm kind of just going off old information, knowing that there's crappies in here and they've been in this area this time of year. So windy too, so I can't really see much. Maybe that's what murked it up a little bit, but I'll just pick away at these lily pads and see if we can get a few. There. Yesterday they were under docks, and today it seems like they're in the lily pads. I guess the other lake I was at didn't have lily pads in it, but they're definitely shallow. Haven't had the dark big males yet that usually see when the spawn's happening, so I think they're just staging up and getting ready to do their thing. But nothing giant, it seems like today. It's a lot of like 10-inchers and a lot of 10-11s, and I've had a few 8s. So hopefully, I bet in the next week or so those big fish will start moving up with them and doing their things. I know there's big ones in here. There's one. Oh, geez. That's another that's probably 11. Or not. I thought it was a little bigger. And I got my minnow back. There we go. In North Dakota, there's not many lily pads, if any. So it's kind of fun to come in here and kind of pick things apart and work on your casting a little bit too, and go around all these little pads and try to find some crappies. Don't get that kind of fishing in North Dakota that much. And then since I am fishing around lily pads, I did beef up my setup a little bit. I still use 8-pound braid, but I put a 10-pound leader on, and there's another one. Oh, this is fun. There's a little nicer one. Yes. That one's probably, I bet you that one's pushing 11. Ooh. Would be a good one to keep. Come on, take it. You know you want it. Yep, there's one. This is too much fun. And it's a little stained, so I don't think they're as spooked from the boat as normally they would. Decent, that's probably like a 10-incher. Crappies are kind of a whole different beast than walleye. Walleye usually like the wind and any wind-blown structures, where crappie, they kind of tend to like to get out of the wind and get in calmer water and warmer water, especially this time of year. So you can kind of eliminate a lot of spots just based from the wind. And a lot of times they are, again, like I said in the last video, on that north shore. And that's usually where you find your warmer water. It's almost 63 here where I was at on the wind side, where wind was blowing in. I think it was like 61.5 or something like that. So pretty much a full degree more back in this spot out of the wind and on the north side. So So you can kind of break down water for crappies a lot of times with, you know, finding the shallow spots, and then usually the north side and then out of the wind if you can. And more often than not, you'll find them in the vegetation. And a lot of times if it is windy, they will push out of the vegetation and I think just go out a little deeper. And I think that's what was happening over there. I'm sure there was crappies around the area. They just weren't quite in the vegetation like they are in this spot, because they are right in the thick of things right here. And since it is a little stained, I did put a rattling bobber on just to kind of track fish, and seems to be working. I'm just going to keep working along this shoreline and hopefully we can catch a few more. See if I get right next to that lily pad that's from this year, and I bet you there's gonna be a crappie under there. Yep, right there. See, they are just right next to those green lily pads. That one didn't even think twice about it. There we go. Well, since there's just so many crappies in here, I'm gonna switch to a little hair jig, a little tungsten hair jig. I think Northland Tackle makes them, and see if that works, because I'm getting kind of annoying switching bait right now with how many are in here. There we go. First one on that fly jig. Oh, that's a nicer one. There we go. That one's got like some gold colors to it. Huh. A lot of times I noticed too, kind of on the outside edge of the lily pads is kind of where the crappies have been. They're not too much into the shallower lily pads. They've all been on the deepest side of them, so I'm sure I'll get right by this lily pad and get crushed. Come on. Tell me there's not one in there. Oh, there was one in there. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say there had to be one in there. Ooh, this might be the biggest one of the day. That one might be pushing 11.5, 12. They're not the thick ones I was catching the other day, but decent size to them. Yeah, 11.5. That's the ones you'd want to be keeping. All right, thanks for playing. Those green lily pads are by far out fishing any other area right now, and on the deepest side, and this is just crazy. I think I've probably caught about 20 right now, and live bait got to be a little bit too much, so I switched to that fly jig, that tungsten fly by Northland, and it has been proving to be the bait of choice right now. I'm sure you could pitch plastics in here, but I don't want to get hung up on the lily pads as much. I'd break off, but what a fun bite. There we go. It's gonna be one of those days where your fingers get pretty sore from catching so many fish, I think. A lot of times too, when you are pitching these little pads, I always work the edge first and then work a little bit in. Say if you catch one in that's a little bit shallower on the weeds and you bring it through the outside, sometimes you can spook them. So it's always better just to catch the edge ones first, and then you can work shallow and try to get those other ones. But that's how I like to dissect these spots for crappies, and it is working today. This is just absolutely insane. There. Oh, I think I'm getting into sunnies. Huh. There we go. That's kind of cool. Nice little sunny. There we go. That one was a little off the weeds. Crappie though. Jeez. There. Took that one a while to bite, but it finally hit it. Jeez, I want to know how many crappies are in these weeds right now, because god dang, it's just got to be loaded. There. Trying to get my boat situated around kind of a cluster right now. There's a nice one. That's probably a 10-11 incher. Oh, dude, chill. Well, definitely have enough fish catches to make a video. I have no shortage of that today. This is pretty wild. Just wish there's a lot of bigger ones mixed in, but I think it's just a little too early. If they were spawning, you'd see some males with some pretty black heads. So just the start of it. It's only going to get better after this week, especially with temps up in the 70s. They are going to be pushing. I just hopefully it's not all done within a day or so. And there's another one. Holy hell. There's gonna be one right there. Has to be. There he is. I don't know if that's the one I missed, but there was one right under there. Every time, just right as soon as you get under those lily pads, you get smoked. There we go. Cool. Come on, be a nicer one. I think the weed just made it feel nicer. That's probably one of the bigger ones of the day. Actually, I'm guessing that 11.5 inch size. Swim back. Go, buddy. It's kind of crazy how some of the lakes just play different this time of year. Especially when warming up and stuff. Some are going along a lot faster than others. The one I was at yesterday, it was pretty far behind. There wasn't too many up shallow yet. There were some in there, but not a whole lot of them. And I know there's a lot of crappies in that lake. It's just, they weren't up shallow yet. They were, I don't know if it was just because that water is a lot colder than it is here. And a lot of it is because of how deep the lake gets, and that'll keep a lake cold too. So it's kind of crazy how every lake just kind of develops at its own pace. I'm gonna catch one more and then I think I'm gonna get out of here. But what a fun afternoon. There's one. I think that'll be the last one of the day. Looks kind of cloudy over there. Ooh, that's the first really male I've had today. Huh. Maybe today's kind of the first day they're starting to pull shallow. That one for sure is the blackest one I've caught. Cool. What a fantastic day. Well, thanks for watching the video, everyone. What a phenomenal 2 days I had out in Minnesota. If you watched the first video, I got on those dock crappies that were pretty decently sized, and then this video were a lot of numbers but not great size yet. So I think it's just the beginning of the crappie spawn, and things are only going to get better with this week and temps warming up big time. So, but yeah, I was glad to get a few crappie videos out there this spring. I don't think I got any out last year during the spring, so... And that's one of my favorite things to do in the spring is chase crappies. It's kind of a simple way of fishing, using a bobber and then just fishing around docks and structure. So I'm assuming most of us all grew up that way, fishing with bobbers, and kind of brings you back to being a kid. So, but yeah, again, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya. Bye.